Good morning, everyone. I wanted to provide a little bit of an overview on the ethical reasoning assignment that is due this Sunday. I apologize. You can't see me very well in this video because it's so bright in my office, which is actually very lovely, but unfortunate for my ability to record. I need a new curtain. so I'll dive in here. I'm not going to read this introduction here to you, but please take some time to read it so you have an understanding of why we're doing this assignment and the intent of it, and to get you kind of started off here on the right foot. All right. Assignment instructions. First thing I want you to do is read chapter 27 in the Oaks and Waters textbook, which is entitled Ethical Issues in Health Information Management. And then I have two articles here that I'd like you to read, and they're both hyperlinked. Okay. Then next thing is to kind of put yourself in the frame of mind as if you were a health information manager at a small rural hospital, and you're finding that the majority of the nursing staff at the hospital are using personal smartphones for clinical communication and workflow. Okay. You're concerned with some type of HIPAA related security risk associated with that personal smartphone usage. Okay. So then to kind of dive into the assignment, using the ethical decision-making process identified on page 897 of the Oaks and Waters textbook and the ethical principles on pages 893 and 894, I would like you to address A through G here in a 3 to 5 page double-spaced paper. Okay, and so just to kind of relate, I have my Oaks and Waters book right here, but page 897 actually takes you through a step-by-step process on ethical decision making. So first, you're asking, what is the moral dilemma? What are my assumptions, biases, emotions, and values? What are the facts? What are the stakeholder values? What are the options? What is the chosen course of action? And what policy can mitigate or preempt this issue? And so, of course, the reading takes you through each of these elements. And so I want you to have a good foundation and an understanding of these before you dive into this assignment and tackle this ethical dilemma. The other thing is that beginning on page 893, I should say, is some discussion on the AHIMA Professional Code of Ethics. And so if you haven't had a chance to look at those, make sure that you do and that you have a good understanding of them. I believe there is I did hyperlink it down here. Yes, I did. So here is a link to the AHIMA Code of Ethics. Okay. So check those out. But then on 893 and 894, there is some information here on the principles and guidelines contained in the code, and how those principles reflect ethical theories and principles discussed earlier in the chapter. So I'm referring to page 894 right now. And so, as you get into this assignment, you're going to see that you need to identify which of these principles apply. So, from 894, I want you to identify: is it virtue ethics? Is it deontology, utilitarianism, autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice? Okay, so make sure you read about each of those and you read the chapter essentially before you get too far into this. So in your paper, I want you to first identify what is the ethical question or dilemma in this situation. So with nurses using their own smartphones, what is the ethical dilemma there, or the ethical question? Next, what are the facts, both known facts and to be gathered? So explain, what is known and what information you need in order to kind of work through the situation. It would be best if you kind of researched the facts surrounding personal smartphone device usage in healthcare. I think that'll give you a good sense of what kind of information you need to gather and what should be considered in this situation. Okay. And then identify who are the stakeholders in this dilemma or situation. And then what are the options to minimize risk, support clinical communication, and resolution? So here I want you to kind of think about all of the stakeholders and consider this from all of those angles and the different points of view, okay? Know the point of view from which your thinking begins, okay? And then also, are there multiple points of view relevant in this scenario? If yes, how are they relevant? If no, why? Provide your rationale, okay? Then letter E here, what is the decision? Identify how you would go about addressing the situation of nurses using personal smartphones to communicate clinical information. Okay, so with this, I just kind of give you some more information here on, um, you know, as an HIM professional, how it's important for you to understand ethical principles when you're making decisions and identify and understand why others may make the decisions they do. So in this case, the nurses are just trying to, care for their patients and provide the best care that they can. But there are obviously considerations and things that need to be had here. And so what ethical principles are at play in your decision making? And so this is where from pages, I think it was 893, or sorry, 894, the virtue ethics, deontology, utilitarianism, autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice. I want you to explain the theory or theories that are at play in your decision making and how they relate to this scenario. Okay. And then lastly here, what justifies your decision? So identify the HEMA Code of Ethics principle or principles involved in this ethical dilemma and explain how they apply to the situation. And then I also want you to take a look at the CSS Benedictine values and determine, which one of those. I just want you to identify one. If more than one applies, you can surely address that, but I'm just looking for you to identify one. Benedictine value that applies to this ethical dilemma. And then, of course, explain how it applies. And then lastly, explain what preventative measure you can implement so that the situation doesn't happen or continue to happen again and again. So again, this is where you would want to research some potential solutions to this scenario. So do some research and find out how healthcare organizations have addressed this in the past. Okay. All right. And then just in terms of like summary here, here are the assignment deliverables. So I'll be looking for a paper that addresses 3A to 3G above. You should have a paper that is 3 to 5 pages, double space, Times New Roman, 1-inch margins. Make sure that you're citing your sources within your writing and include a reference page. Of course, all in APA style. There is the CSS APA checklist here for you. I do have a grading rubric as well in Brightspace for this assignment. And yeah, that's about it. If you do need some help on APA citations for this, please let me know. I will provide some guidance in an announcement here along with this video on how to specifically cite chapter 27 in the Oaks and Waters textbook. You should note that Oaks and Waters for this textbook are editors. They're not necessarily, while Oak, Pam, and Amy have chapters within the textbook, they're also editors. And so when you have editors of a book, you want to cite those elements differently in APA. And so it's pretty specific. And so I will give you an example and actually give you the citation for chapter 27 in this announcement. So make sure that you review that. Pay close attention to capitalization and italicized words and punctuation and all of those good things as you kind of review that example, okay? All right, so I'm going to let you go, and I hope you all have a really great day, and I hope that you found this to be helpful. Okay.